So in this video, here she is again. First build, Nordhavn N51, being built in Tuzla, Istanbul, Turkey. Hull's pretty much done, all the through hulls, top deck's ready to go on, and we're going to have a look at some of the special features that they've incorporated into the boat. And I think that's what makes it pretty special, is they're willing at this stage to change, to find better ways of doing things, and we'll have a look at that. Even the anchor, got to try the anchor out, just to make sure that it doesn't hit the boat on the way down. And we did have a lovely stay in Tuzla. Remember in the last video we went around the mall area. Pretty amazing. Simply built to attract overseas visitors to shop at outlet stores, and they come by the busload. It's amazing. We had great coffee in Turkey. Fiona enjoyed her tea. Bit of a specialist place for tea is Turkey. And then we start heading home. So the trip to Tuzla is over, the Telgren factory. We're going to have a look at the amazing Istanbul airport. It's out of this world. Massive screens all around the terminal. Fantastic shopping. A little bit of a hiccup comes in the trip though that we'll talk about as well. Resulting, you guessed it, another night's stay in Istanbul. Don't you just love standby travel? And guess what? We're now not going to LA. So I guess what makes, well for us anyway, makes Nordhavn so special is they just want their boats to be the very best. So the N51, like the N41, is a production boat. So you get very, very little choice. But here's an example of the extra distance that Nordhavn and their boat builders, Telgren and Tuzla, Istanbul, go to make it just that special vessel. So here is the guest room. It's the double bed. Spec'd is a double bed, or you can get separate bunks. So your choice was 2 bunks or a double bed. But in the end what they thought was, let's get clever about this. Let's make it so that the double bed can convert into 2 singles. I mean, how cool is that? They spent a lot of time working on this, and it works beautifully. Beautiful furniture making. The beds just slide apart, couple of little fittings to make sure they stay in place, and you can go from having 2 separate friends or a couple of kids to having couples there in a matter of minutes. Pretty special. So really looking forward to seeing this feature. Certainly wasn't something we expected, and it's just all part of them saying this boat is going to be a special boat. There's Drew over from LA, he's managing the whole project. Mina in the background there, she's the designer for all the interior fit out for the fabrics, and we saw some of those, we showed you them in the last video. Beautiful fabrics, as you'd expect out of Turkey. So yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. And so Awanui NZ, of course, is the first N51. So lots of things happen more than once. And you can see here, here's our anchor being tried out just to make absolutely sure when it drops down that it doesn't come into contact with the hull. So the whole setup gets rigged, ready to go, they trial it, and then it's all dismantled, put away for the final fitting. And of course, when the other boats come out, you don't have to go through this, so it just gets quicker and quicker. Maybe that's why it just takes that bit longer for the first build. And the labour required, I mean, check these guys out. 3 of them working on one part of the boat, 10 to 15 separate layers of fiberglass. And the work that goes into it is just amazing. It's certainly going to be a special boat when it's finished. Just a few pickies of the build from the beginning, just to take us through from the initial hull coming out through to where the boat is currently. And next week or so, we'd expect some pretty flash photos to be coming through. I think you're all going to be quite surprised. And now it's time to go home. So just the last night in Tuzla, and then a journey back to New Zealand.
Just finished dinner there. Beautiful restaurant. And beautiful restaurant. And then there's a group walking ahead of me, of course. I don't think any of them realised I'm not with them, but that's alright. I suppose it's safe for a woman to be on her own here. But here we are again, this lovely area.
It's a wrap for Istanbul, eh?
Sure is.
It's kind of, it's been great. Thoroughly recommend it to anybody that's getting a boat built over here, that's for sure. But the first thing I've learned is that going by ferry from Istanbul to Tuzla via Larova and Pendik is not necessary unless you love going on ferries.
Well, it was fun though.
Yeah, it was. It was a fun way of finding the place and just seeing if we could be a bit different, I suppose.
No. You?
Yeah, it was good. But we're now in a cab, and that's 800 lira from Tuzla all the way to the airport, which is about 35 US, 50 bucks New Zealand. So anybody coming over, if you wanted to go straight to Tuzla, I reckon cab's the way to go, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But it was fun on the ferry. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was neat.
Yeah. So we've had a neat couple of days meeting Jeff and Drew from Nordhavn.
Wonderful people.
Oh, just nice people, eh?
Yeah.
And they just give you great confidence, like they're there to make sure this boat's just comes out in the best way it possibly can.
And we have to give a shout out to Firkin as well.
Yeah, Firkin was fantastic. Firkin works for Murat.
Murat's great too.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's got a good sense of humour. But Firkin was, he was our driver, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Murat said he was his driver, but I kind of felt
Took
like
that over.
he was like our driver. We weren't allowed to go anywhere without Firkin taking us there.
Yeah.
We said, we'll get a cab out to the factory. Nope.
No,
Firkin came out to get us. And he's
really lovely.
Lovely guy, and really
told us a little bit about Turkey, and we got a bit of an inside story, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's in charge of quality control, and he just wants the boat to come out fantastic.
And Mene was lovely too. She's the designer and got neat ideas. She's just great.
They're all great there, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from Raptor, you want to talk about Raptor?
Raptor, he bit me. He bit my ankle, so he's vicious. He's a tiny wee dog, but he'll have a go at you if he gets a chance. But anyway, they're aware of that.
He's 6 years old, and they had got him when he was 1, and he'd been abused. So he's
had a tough upbringing.
Yeah.
And Murat's a bit of a sucker for dogs, as we talked about the other day. But I guess what I really want to do is just have a big shout out for Telgren, because building boats is what they do, and they are just so determined that every boat that comes out of that factory is the best boat it can possibly be. And you can just see the way the guys are working on it. They're sanding things down to really fine sandpaper, and they talk about it, they work out what they want to do. And because in our case the 51 is the first one, they're meeting challenges all the way along, and that takes time, but they're overcoming them, and they're making improvements on the boat all the time.
And it's lovely, they're very solution orientated, nothing's a problem.
Oh yeah, but the focus is creating a really neat boat.
Yeah.
And it takes longer than maybe we all want at the end of the day, but one thing I know is if this boat was built in New Zealand or in America, there's no way we could afford it, and there's no way I think a lot of the Nordhavn owners could afford their boats if that was the case. So being able to be built and facing the challenges of being built in Turkey and Taiwan and in China, and I mean this is pretty new over here in Turkey for Nordhavn. They're working on those challenges. Supply is definitely an issue. Labour can be a challenge at times, but rest assured, they're building good boats, and you just got to be happy to wait. A real big shout out for the Telgren team.
But also too, it's like the first one is always going to take a while, because they're trying to, everything they're doing is for the first time and it's new. But rest assured, down the track, they'll have that down to a fine art, just like they have with the 41 now, and they're just churning out 2 a month, and the same will happen with the 51. So there might just be a little bit of a speed hump here at the moment, but we've got, really believe that it will start just churning out and doing really well.
Yeah. 2 years from now, it's going to be a different story. There'll be 51s out there. So it's been great. I'm so pleased we came over.
Definitely.
And we won't be back until she's splashed, as they put it. So
I will be here for the splash.
Yeah, come on October.
Yeah, brilliant. Looking forward to it.
Now we're off to Dana Point. So 14-hour flight, and then a couple of days off in LA before we head home to reality. So just coming up here, the mighty Bosphorus sort of divides Istanbul in half really, and connects the Black Sea to the Marmara Sea, and a huge volume of water. Man, all the ships from the Black Sea, from Ukraine, from Russia, come down here. Warships, container ships, food ships, bulk carriers. Pretty amazing stretch of water, and really is the connection or the divide, if you like, between Asia, I guess, and Europe. Looks beautiful, so we'll definitely have to visit that in the boat when we get there. Massive volume of water, huge current in it, and the flow's basically equivalent, I think, to about the 5th largest river in the world. Now that's a good coffee. $9 NZ for a cup of coffee. Green tea, $8.
No, more expensive if you hadn't had a large. First time ever I've found tea on a menu more expensive than a latte.
But it looks like a good latte.
It does. So you'll be happy.
Yeah.
Nice. You can take a sip of it and see if it's nice.
I will. Looks good. Nice pattern. It's a good coffee.
Good.
So we're just going to take you on a little walk through Istanbul terminal. Unbelievable terminal. I mean, it's just massive. You compare it to, Hong Kong, Singapore. Singapore probably just tops it a little bit, I guess. When you think when Singapore was first built, back in the late 70s, just why every airport around the world's not a blueprint of Singapore, I don't know. But anyway, or why Singapore's not a blueprint of every other airport, I guess. But This airport's incredible. I mean, it's just absolutely first world. The shopping's incredible, food places everywhere, amazing digital displays. And I guess, it sends a message to the world. It says, hey, we're open for business. And they they just fly all over the place. You look at the departure board and see where the flights go, and the vast majority are Turkish Airlines. But I just hope you enjoy the walk through. Incredible setups. I don't know how much stuff people actually buy at airports. Is it just an effective form of advertising? I don't know. People must buy stuff, but I suspect it's hellishly expensive to lease this space. I guess that's why it's so expensive, $9 for a cup of coffee like we talked about. But this terminal just goes on and on and on and on. And the people, so many people. It's supposed to be a worldwide recession, but there's no sign of it over here. An amazing number of visitors to Turkey. And as you're going to find out soon, a heap of people trying to go to America as well, which had a direct impact on our flight. Little annoying thing was Wi-Fi, I guess. You have to scan your passport, and I mean, you're in an international terminal, everybody wants to be on Wi-Fi, and when you scan your Wi-Fi you get 1 hour, and pretty slow at that, to be honest. It's okay, but pretty slow, and then after an hour you basically have to start paying, and it gets pretty expensive. I would have thought these days free Wi-Fi at international airports would just about be the norm. And you've got to actually wonder why Wi-Fi is not free right around the world for everybody, because the advertising that's done on the internet surely could pay for it. You imagine if Wi-Fi cost nothing. People would just use it more. They'd be exposed to the adverts more. Kind of surprised it's not, to be honest. Anyway, incredible terminal, and really is something to see. It's pretty new, long taxi times here, but a big airport, just going to everywhere in the world. So here I am, top part of Istanbul airport, heading down the escalator towards our gate for the flight to LA. 2 flights today to LA. Story is, first flight way oversold, and we didn't even get a look at that. So again, for those that have forgotten, we go standby as ex-airline employees. And the second flight that day, well, we missed that as well.
And our journey continues. Second time leaving Istanbul airport. So we've just been here, tried to get on a flight, couldn't get on one. Then our bag ended up, we had to get that because we had decided to put bag on. And now we're going to find a taxi. We've booked a hotel and we'll come back and do it all again tomorrow. See ya. Bye. Tell a little bit about... Yep. I sort of mentioned we'd left the airport.
Really?
Right? Yeah.
Stuck in Istanbul.
Yeah. So here we are though, but stuck in a lovely spot. This is home for the night.
Yeah.
Here we are. Blue skies. What more could you want?
Flight tomorrow with seats.
Lovely. On our way to dinner. Mark's nearly already there at the restaurant. Here he is, going in. And this is the place we're staying in. All different blocks. It's connected by these paths. And our room is through down there on the bottom. You go in up here and then you go down. It's all pretty lovely. Here we are. So where are we, Marky?
Istanbul airport again. Nice hotel last night though, so we are checking out nice hotels with these delays. And it's take 2.
Lovely. Hoping better luck today.
Yep, Dana Point, here we go. So, as you can see, we could not get to LA. But there were seats to Narita in Japan, just outside Tokyo, so off to Tokyo went, and the decision was made to give Dana point up and head back home to Auckland. So going to Narita, spend about 8 hours across Russia, and you can see the green line there is the direct track from Istanbul to Narita, and it basically goes right over Crimea, and we all know what's going on there at the moment. And I just wondered what they did. Well, it soon became obvious. There's that 30-degree turn to the right, go around Crimea, then a 30-degree turn back to the left to get back on track, and thereby, I guess, avoiding the most risky parts of flying around Russia at the moment. And lovely views into Narita as we descended. That's from about 10,000 feet. Once we got there, we got train tickets, headed into Narita village by the local train system. I used to spend a heap of time here when I was flying free in New Zealand. Just loved Narita, neat place. Fiona's never been here, so thought we'd take her in and show her what she's been missing out on. Some really interesting stuff in Narita village. It's kind of centred around the airline industry, so a lot of Western pubs, or pubs for Western people, or airline people I should say, and doesn't open until about 11 o'clock in the morning because most airline crew have a good sleep in. It's just walking down the local village street, and a little bit later on you see a little treat. It's a guy that's been there for decades really, and he just pulls out live eels, fillets them right in front of you. They get cooked and you eat them, so pretty nice really. Pretty hot, 34 degrees Celsius, so the flight out that night was being looked forward to, and heading back home where the temperature was below 10 or below 70 degrees, so getting pretty cool really. Anyway, that was our trip to Istanbul, Tuzla. We've just been told we've got photos coming out of progress on the boat. Obviously I'm doing this from back home, and they're going to be stitching the top deck to the hull this week, so we expect to get some video and photos of that, which obviously we will share with you. So thanks for watching, and hopefully more photos of the boat soon. See you next time.